We've got a couple of people in studio today that did a 24-day trek over the Purcell Mountains in August. We want to welcome Shawn, Emmett, and Steve Tersmette in studio. Steve, how are you today?
No, not bad. Still recovering.
Good to start with you. Yeah, how do you recover after something like that? Just rest a lot?
Oh man, rest, food, water. Yeah, though that trip takes a toll on a body for sure.
Was it what you thought it was going to be like?
Some days, yeah, there were some days where they were every bit as hard as we thought. It was every bit as beautiful as we thought, yeah, just fortunate that when everything was said and done, we completed the trip as we set out safely and successfully.
Shawn, what are some of the landmarks? Because if people don't have a map in front of them, but can you go through the Purcells for us, just in short, nutshell it for us?
Oh, try to shorten up for you. Started off at the parking lot for the Dewar Heart Springs. Went up over Radiant Peak, up and around Duchess, which has some beautiful tarns up there. Again, kind of north towards Lees and Clutterbuck, which gave more amazing views, hard to get at. Toby Mountain and Toby Glacier, absolutely beautiful. Of course, we kind of cut through the Bugaboos, which is another just amazing place if you can ever get a chance to visit it. And then from there, north over to the Rogers Pass, Caribou Ridge.
What happens when you get up there, though, Steve, and you say, gee, I forgot something back at home? How do you prepare for that? And did you forget anything you should have had with you?
I don't think we really forgot anything. There were some things, like just some extra tea that, a little bit of extra food would have been probably beneficial. But no, it was months and months of preparing gear and food. And prior to that, it was years of preparing the route, planning the route, and the logistics of taking on a trip like this.
How was the weather? Did it hold up for you for the 24 days?
We had probably at least 18 days, 19 days of absolutely sunny blue sky weather. Smoke for a few of the days that blew in wherever we were, just due to the wildfire statuses west and south of us. And really only had 2 significant days of rain. One we were fortunate enough to be in a shelter, and another one where we were stuck in the tent on a muddy ledge.
You have to know each other quite well, too, when you take on something like this, because you're together for 24 days. Personality-wise, did you click well before you went up, and do you still click well today, or were there some tensions up there when you were doing this?
No, that was the big thing. You just can't pull off a trip like this without working as a team, and I think for Shawn and I, we got we're kind of on the same level in terms of personality and not too many ups and downs emotionally, but yeah, there's a lot of trust and a lot of teamwork that you need to go along in this trip.
Shawn, were you dared, or were you challenging each other, or saying, what's one thing we want to do while we're young enough, while we're in good shape? What brought this all on?
Well, for starters, Steve just asked me, and I just said yes. I'm one of those guys, if you picture doing it, you can get it done. But I did turn 40 this year, and that was kind of one of the motivations. Just to do something neat like this. We've got a very adventurous East Kootenay community here. I really wanted to contribute to that.
I can only imagine what the views would be like when you're on the tip tops and you're looking down. What were some of the spectacular scenes that you could see in the valley bottoms that were a long ways down?
One of the places that really stands out in my mind was we got to a little tarn quite high up on a mountain. It was kind of held in this little pool on the side of a mountain, and really unique that the water would just stay in there. But we were at probably 2,600 meters, literally 2/3, 3/4 of the way up a mountain, and found this pool. And the next morning at sunrise, bluebird day, the sun's out, the water is like a mirror, and you've got this gorgeous reflection of one of the peaks to the south of us, Mount Monica, just perfectly reflected in this pond. And there were a lot of great moments up high where we're up on Caribou Ridge and we're looking out towards the Selkirks over the Beaver and Duncan valleys, and just big scenery, tons of relief in the mountains, like from valley bottom to peak. some of these are over 2,400 meters.
Did you journal the trip though at all? Or did you just take pictures and you can show to share later? Or did you actually write down what was happening along the way? What were the hard days, the easy days, and the fun times?
Absolutely. I got one of those little yellow expedition journals. I wrote in that every day. Steve kept his own little log too. So we got 2 separate journals that are documenting everything that we did. It makes you mark weather, elevations. So we got a pretty good record of what we did.
Done and done. Would you ever take on something like this again in maybe a different location?
You know what? Now that I'm rested up, absolutely. I think again, when we were coming up to day 24, we just were more than happy to get out and excited and be like, are we going to do this one again? But you know, in 5 years, it'd be neat to do it in a winter traverse on skis just to see how it travels then. It has been done, I believe, a couple times that way, but I would like to experience that maybe. Or we've just got some fantastic terrain in BC with traverses all over the place to attempt something else.
Are you single, Matt? How did it affect your families? I guess single or not, mums and dads, everybody's going to be thinking about you when you're doing something like this.
Yeah, I got a wife and 2 little kids, and Shawn's got a girlfriend. My wife's basically said, "You owe me," but she knew this was coming for the last few years. She knew this trip was coming. We had the dates ironed out a long time in advance, so everyone had lots of heads up that we were gonna do this.
Thanks for coming to see us. Yeah. Did you want to pass along some thank yous out there, or some thanks if you want to before we go here today?
Absolutely. We were fortunate enough to be the recipients of the MEC Adventure Grant, which was awarded to us by the Vancouver International Mountain Film Festival. So a big thanks to Tom Wright at the VIMFF, and we also want to thank the folks at MEC. They provided some expedition support to us, just allowed us to make some really good investments in gear prior to our trip. Family, friends, and coworkers, man, we had a lot of support leading up to, and lots of well wishes during our trip. And I do personally want to thank another gent in Kimberley, and he kind of for providing the inspiration for this trip almost 10 years ago. His name's Dave Quinn from Kimberley, and without his vision and his ambition, it's likely that this trip would not have kind of materialized.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Very interesting. Shawn and Steve Tersmette and Shawn Emmett, who did a 24-day trek over the Purcell Mountains this past summer.